guys, my name is Jennifer Wilson and I am your guide here at Simple Scrapper. In today's video, I'm sharing an update of my memory keeping and simple living practices that I set out on at the beginning of the year. I'll link that video down below. And so this is my 7-month update on how things are going. I'll be sharing what's working really well, what worked not so well at all, and the things that are going just fine. If that sounds fun to you, I hope you'll keep watching. All right, first let's dive into what is working great for me. And the number one thing is 6x8 layouts. Now, you've probably seen me do other videos on this. I've had a process video and a 6x8 layout video because this has really been the exciting new thing for me this year. Now, for some of you, this may be old hat, or you may be more used to working in the 6x8 pocket page format. But I have been creating 6x8 layouts. So let me pull some of those here for you guys. So I'm keeping those in my Allie Edwards storybook. So this is a 6x8 album, but it's super thick. So I anticipate this being able to hold all of my layouts for the whole year. And I've got this fun cover page here, and then I have some of my layouts in here. Some of them I recently photographed, so I pulled those out. And this size, this has just been so fun for me. I love that it's easy to fill up the full width of the page with a photo if I want and then do the embellishing down below. Or I can do a more traditional, layered, off-centered composition type of page as well. So this has just been so fun. I actually found that I'm journaling more because I end up with these big journaling blocks. And I just love that it's so easy to complete these in like 30 minutes or an hour. It's just a really compact format. So that's working really well. And part of, I think, why that is working well is that I'm not just creating 6x8 pages. I'm creating other sizes as well. So I oftentimes will think, okay, what size do I want to create in? And if it's 6x8, I'll work on my 2018 photos. If it's another size, then that kind of encourages me to go back into my photo library of past years and create other pages. So for example, I have this 12x12 layout. I still need to add my journaling on it, but this is of my daughter's nature camp experience from last year. And just last week I created an 8.5x11 layout. So I'm really enjoying having the diversity of sizes. It gives me options, but that 6x8 has been really, really fun for my 2018 photos. So underneath all of this, I think part of it is a sense of accountability, both to myself in that I set out at the beginning of the year what I wanted to do and kind of how I wanted to do it. And of course that has ebbed and flowed, but there's also been a lot of accountability from our member community. I'm hosting regular live crops and with the camera over my desk so people can see me working. And so I'm creating live on camera and it actually helps me move forward. So that may not be your life, but I know you have different types of options to set yourself up for success. You can set a date on the calendar. You can have a meetup with your local friends who love to scrapbook just as much as you do. Or you can gather with us online or any other online community and really focus on moving forward and keeping each other accountable to your hobby and your priorities. All right, so now we're going to talk about what hasn't worked so well. And some of this is kind of hard to share because I like to set goals and I like to reach them, but there's some things that this year didn't work for me. I think I bit off a little bit more than I could chew, and I failed to really account for what season of life I was in. And we'll get more into that in a second here. So the first thing that hasn't really worked well for me was the Me and My Big Ideas Happy Memory Keeping Planner. So this is a super thick memory planner designed for daily journaling. And I loved the process at the beginning. It was really fun. I loved being able to use stickers. And there's so many gems in my writing, but by the end of January, I couldn't keep up with it anymore. I found that it just didn't fit into my life. I was doing this most of the time in the evening right before bed. And I think because I still have a young daughter and our evening routine tends to be pretty unpredictable, sometimes I fall asleep in her room, that I don't have that just really, really solid routine in the evenings that would facilitate this at this point in my life. It doesn't mean that this wouldn't work well for you, but it didn't work well for me. I'll probably actually be selling this, and it's an undated planner. I'll just take out the 1 month that I did for those who may want to pick it up. The products are really fun. It's very pretty and colorful, and I love actually the parts that I've done. But for this time in my life, it's just not a good fit. And so related to that is the morning pages that we've been doing. So as part of the Simple Scrapper membership this year, I've been leading a study group through The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron. And this is a world famous book on really sparking your creativity. And every month we go through one chapter and do the exercises and talk about a different facet of the things that are supporting or blocking our creative progress. And one of her fundamental practices is morning pages. And I did really good, and you're supposed to do 3 pages longhand of journaling. I have really big paper here, so I tend to do 2 pages. But I got through probably the end of April, and that's when things kind of fell apart for me. And I know exactly what happened there is that's when I traveled. And there's been a lot of different travel in the past few months, and that tends to really kind of derail my routines. It usually takes me a full week after getting home from travel to get back into a routine. And then with something like this, if it's not a daily habit, it's really hard to get back into. And then I think coupled with more daylight, summertime, that kind of changed my sleeping schedule a little bit, and this just kind of fell off. Now, I will say that I really loved the practice, and I found it very therapeutic. I found it a great way to start my day by offloading some of my emotions onto the page and kind of just, it's almost cleansing, if you will, to be able to start the day fresh. Now, I know a lot of our members have also said that they found, morning meditation or exercise, even if it's just a nice walk in the morning, to provide a similar effect, to give you that opportunity to offload, release, and reset for that day. So I do think that morning pages is a great tool. I do think for most people, it could be part of your arsenal of tools. And it's something that I'd like to get back into. But again, with this, my routines are not always consistent. And so maybe it's just not the perfect season of life for me. All right. I have one more thing that didn't work well. And this was actually a really big surprise for me. So let's back up for a second. Last year, I bought an Erin Condren planner, and I think I did a video on that. And it's a really nice planner. I loved the quality of it. I thought I used a ton of small stickers. Let me see if there's any big ones here. I used all of these different types of list stickers. It really kept me on track, but I got an 18-month, and it was so heavy, just so thick. And I found myself not wanting to carry it around. I also got the hourly format. So this is the full hours of the day. And my schedule just doesn't work like that. Sure, I do have appointments, 1 or 2 things a day sometimes. But the way I work on tasks is usually by a weekly or even sometimes monthly basis. Most of my tasks are not time constrained, and if they are, they're usually in Asana on the computer. So I found the hourly format not to work well because I was just trying to figure out places that I could put lists of things that I'm working on for that week. So at the end of the year, I set that aside. So I used that for 6 months, and then I said, that's not quite good for me. So I bought the Inkwell Press quarterly planner system, and it comes with, I have 3 of the books here. It comes with 4 books, 1 for each quarter of the year. And I love that idea because, I have a seasonal planner, and I will link that down below if you haven't downloaded that yet. I definitely operate seasonally. That's how I think about things. But I found a big problem with this type of planning. So when I got to, even in April, I was starting to put dates for July over here on the side. And as June went on, I'm like, well, it's not July yet, so am I going to pick up the next book? I didn't want to carry 2 books with me. And so I actually found myself not planning ahead very well. And all of a sudden it was July and I didn't know which way was up, and I kind of lost track of some of these dates, and I felt quite behind for the past few weeks. So while I love the spread of the weekly format here, it works really well for me to have some daily appointments, kind of daily highlights like meal planning or top priorities, and then I use these columns for my lists. That format worked well, but the kind of big picture planning totally fell apart, and to me that was a detriment because I even got behind in some of the planning we do for Simple Scrapper because I did not have this next book to start figuring out dates for our events because it was here in my office and not wherever I was working at the time. So I was really surprised, but that didn't work well for me. And like the other planner, I'll be selling these last 2 books of the year so that someone else can get good use of those. All right, now let's jump into the things that are working just fine. They're not over the top great, but they're not too sucky either. The first one is my photo editing. I've been doing editing on my phone primarily using the Lightroom app, and then those photos go into Lightroom Classic on my computer, and most of them are already edited or flagged for deletion. Now that's been going okay. I definitely spend a lot of time there culling through my photos, editing the ones that I think I might want to scrapbook or at least save. And sometimes those edits are just very minor, a crop or whatever, but it's not going fantastic. I'm behind. There's a lot of photos that I haven't touched, even from past years, and it really needs to be a bigger priority for me. But I'm okay with it. My system is enough that I know my photos are safe. I am very well backed up, and my photos are always going that direction to my central home on my computer. So I feel good about that at any one point I know where my photos are and I know that they're being taken care of, even if I'm really behind on my editing and kind of keeping up with the deleting of all those extra unnecessary photos. The next thing that's going just fine is my December daily album. I have done so much in this. It is so thick. I'm really happy with the progress I made, but it just hasn't been a priority the past few months. I hope to pick it up again, and I have some other older December dailies that I want to work on. And I would say in terms of projects that aren't just everyday layouts, those have been my priority this year because it's fun for me. I'm enjoying that smaller format, and I want to get those taken care of. So I think I'll get back into that probably in August, even more likely in September, after school is really underway again. Summer is definitely a very busy time for us. Lots of family adventures, enjoying all the sunshine, but also I have kind of a shortened work schedule during the summer, and so there's just a lot of back and forth and not as much time for myself or for my work. And then the last thing I want to mention here is my office decluttering. So the area that you can see behind me is going really, really well. I'm so happy that I cleaned off those shelves and really started fresh back there. But I still have piles over here that need to be gone through. And I would say every week I go through 1 or 2 piles. I'm still battling my daughter's artwork in school paper memorabilia, but I do have boxes and containers for those. My next big step is photographing a whole bunch of that so that I can get rid of some of those more 3-dimensional objects that I don't plan on keeping. So that's going fine. It hasn't been a priority recently, again, because of travel and just a very busy full schedule this summer, but I feel good about where I am and know that I am making progress on it. All right, that is my update on my memory keeping, creative lifestyle types of activities. If there's anything you think I missed, I would love if you left me a comment down below this video. I'm happy to answer for you, or if you have any other questions about things I do, don't do, going well, not so going well, I would love to hear from you. Also, if you are not yet subscribed to my channel, I would love if you hit that subscribe button. And if you are a longtime fan of Simple Scrapper and you have not yet joined us for the Refresh Retreat, our next session starts this Thursday, July 12th, and goes through next Wednesday, the 18th. It is a 7-day reset for your hobby, and I would love to have you join us. And I'll have that information linked down below. Again, my name is Jennifer Wilson. I am your guide here at Simple Scrapper. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you again soon.